Hi, I'm Ruth from pebblecollections.com. In this pebble, I will share my many years of isolation and bullying by my peers, and some tips on how to deal with this form of abuse. My earliest recollections of being a loner or alone was in kindergarten or preschool, around the age of 4. I have 2 small memories from that time, and primary school was just around the corner, so I'd walk to and from school. The memories there of the earlier grades are scattered. However, like the kindergarten, every one of them I was alone with no friends, and I can also remember instances where the teachers didn't understand me. Regarding the higher grades of primary, memories of deliberate isolation and bullying from my peers increased considerably. I was excluded from playground games like elastics, jump rope and hand clapping. I always walked alone around school and lone play, mostly daydreaming, I guess to help me escape from the physical world I was in. If you're with me thus far in similar experiences, you would know what it feels like to always be the one left standing alone when a team leader was forced to pick you, or I, for sports. Those are some of the examples from my primary school years. I do have other instances from secondary school and beyond to share with you later. There are 2 key words I want to highlight to you: power, empowerment. Both are fine on their own, but each can be misused, particularly in a bullying situation, whether that be at school, over the internet, from your community, your workplace or marriage. The aim is this: to remove the bully's power and empower yourself. Wherever you are being bullied, it is vital that you speak out about it to relevant authorities. If that's at school, for example, tell your year coordinator. And yes, I can probably guess what your thoughts are. That'll only make it worse. Or they threaten me not to. Tell a friend, so as they can support you through it. However, they don't have the authority to do anything to stop it. In the case of their actions getting worse, have you thought of this contributing factor? While no one knows, they retain power over you. And is that something you want them to have or keep? No. I went on a touring trip in secondary school to a part of Australia where it was very hot, and I was the common target for the amusement of several boys. One such occasion, 2 were sitting above a walkway to catch me out with a container of water. So I deliberately stopped beneath them, raised my head with my eyes shut, and urged them, "Come on, it's hot." Their smiles faded quickly as I spoiled their fun, and they turned their game to somebody else. It would have been nice to get wet, as it was hot, but I didn't get bullied. Why? Because I removed their reward. When you react to their taunts in a way they're expecting or wanting you to, it's like a reward for their bad behaviour. When rewards are given for a particular action, those behaviours are likely to continue, and therefore their power is increased. Another example is ignoring them continuously, as without a reaction their game with you would get boring. And there are also lots of education on cyberbullying and how to block internet bullies, so utilise those to your advantage, to not provide them with their reward, their power. Secondary school was across the road from my primary, so the bullies just followed me into my new school. Year 7 camp had a canoeing activity, and I knew what would happen as soon as the teachers were out of sight. And I guess you can know too. In another year, I was surrounded by 3 or 4 peers all throwing wood shavings at my face, my hair and down my school dress, until I cried. In metalworks, I was shoved violently off a high bench, nearly landing on my head, just because they didn't want me near them. I was sworn and spat at, my long hair pulled, and back then there was predominantly blackboards, so I was dusted all over my head and my face with dusters. And again, nobody wanted me for classroom activities or sports teams. The first step to empowering yourself is to know who you are. As for me, I'm a child of God, loved 100% perfectly and unconditionally. And this is where I get my self-identity from. Of course, that didn't stop them from bullying me, but having this inner sense of security and belonging changed the way I reacted to them. However, if this is not your perspective, ask yourself, where are you getting your self-worth or identity from? Is it from the bullies? Make a conscious decision to purposely refuse to believe what they say. Try this exercise. Imagine you are standing apart, separate from yourself. Place knowing who you really are in line with their words or insinuations, and then analyse the two portrayals together. Are their words or negative way they're making you feel about yourself just superficial lies? Make the effort to give your subconscious no freedom whatsoever with those lies by verbally telling yourself you're not who or what they say. If you're uncertain if they are lies or you're unsure of who you are, talk to parents, family members, or someone you trust who knows you well to help you. During secondary, it wasn't just physical and emotional abuse. There was also sexually based bullying from both male and female peers. Girls taunting me in the gym changing rooms, teasing, degrading and laughing at me in sex ed classes while the teacher was distracted. However, the biggest abuse was from the main male bully, a class clown, while the teacher was away from the room. I usually sat up in the front and in the middle of that particular classroom, and the tables were the standard height and with plastic moulded chairs. He came up behind me and put his right foot up onto the table so that his upper leg passed by my head. He then proceeded to play with his genitals behind my right ear. I stood up to leave and I looked behind me and as I went, I noticed that the whole class was either smiling or laughing at me. I know I left crying and I ran all the way home sobbing. At the time of the bullying, it's hard to see that there will always be something behind their actions. This, by the way, does not justify their action. However, it does help to understand that their taunts would stem from insecurities or struggles in their journey, and they're not yours to own. As soon as you start accepting or believing the lies, you take ownership of them. For example, although my bullies didn't specifically say it, but the effect over time told me I was useless and worthless. The cognitive idea that it was their problem, not mine, empowered me and will empower you to step back afterwards and detach yourself from the situation, allowing yourself the space to know and believe that you're better, and then be empowered to rise above their implications. Finally, throughout university, there were two girls within my social connections who took pleasure in bullying me. Then a bitter woman with mature-aged children started to harass me not long after she started at my first job. She and her workmate bullied me until I left due to redundancy. So, from around 1976 to 1998, approximately 22 years of relatively consistent isolation and bullying by my peers. I didn't do anything to encourage it, other than being an individual and true to myself, which of course meant being different. Those words again: power, empowerment. Remove the bully's power by speaking out and removing their reward, and empower yourself with knowing who you are and correcting the struggle ownership from you back onto them. Then at the end of this journey, clean out the wound by letting go of any grudges you're holding on tight to. Otherwise, your heart will not heal. The hurt will still leave a scar behind, but if the wound wasn't clean before it healed over, then your heart beneath is more likely to fester, forcing the scar to reopen in pain. If you've been bullied in the past and your scar is reopening, the same applies. Clean out the wound with forgiveness, that is letting go, because a clean wound will release its pain and will heal over time, and be replaced by beauty or handsome character, and hope to move forward. There is an unjustifiable reason why I was bullied, and it wasn't from anything that I did. Knowing now what it was helps me to understand why, and that it wasn't me. But knowing also enhances their actions as all the crueler, which I will reveal in another pebble. Please share this pebble on to others to provide the opportunity to touch a struggling heart. Till next time, onwards and upwards.